Welcome to Movie Minutes. This is a full recap of the Breaking Bad series. If you're ready to dive into an unforgettable story, grab some popcorn, relax, and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe for more. Walter White's life is ordinary, predictable. He's a high school chemistry teacher who knows a lot about science, but he doesn't earn much money. Many of his students think he's just another boring teacher, and Walter feels unappreciated. Even though he's highly educated, he's forced to work part-time at a car wash to help pay the bills. It's embarrassing, especially when students see him there, but he does it to take care of his family. At home, Walter's life is challenging but loving. His wife, Skylar, tries to manage their home on a tight budget. They have a teenage son, Walt Jr., who has cerebral palsy, which makes life harder for them. Skylar is also pregnant, adding to their financial pressure. Every day, Walter sticks to his routine, until his life takes a huge turn. One day at the car wash, Walter suddenly collapses. After tests at the hospital, he learns he has advanced lung cancer and only months left to live. This news is a shock, and he starts worrying about his family's future, wondering how they'll manage without him. Later, he joins his brother-in-law, Hank, who works for the DEA, on a drug raid. Walter sees the big money in the drug business, and something shifts inside him, a mix of fear, excitement, and desperation. During the raid, he spots a former student, Jesse Pinkman, trying to escape. An idea forms that will change his life forever. Walter tracks down Jesse and proposes a strange partnership. He'll use his chemistry skills to make high-quality meth, while Jesse will sell it. Jesse is unsure at first but eventually agrees. They get an old RV and drive to the desert, where Walter cooks his first batch of meth. He also creates a new identity for himself, Heisenberg. Walter White has chosen a dangerous path, aiming to make enough money to leave behind for his family. But he soon realizes the risks. Back in the desert RV, Walter and Jesse improve their meth-making skills. Walter's chemistry knowledge creates a super pure product that's hard to ignore. Jesse is both impressed and worried, knowing this purity could attract dangerous people. He tries to sell the meth to local dealers, but soon faces trouble with a tough dealer, Crazy-8. Jesse realizes that the drug world comes with serious danger, not just money. As Walter White continues his double life, he's finding it hard to balance everything. By day, he's still a chemistry teacher, and at home, he's the same family man, but now he's hiding a dark secret. Skylar, his wife, can sense something is off. Walter seems distracted and strange, though she doesn't know about his cancer or his meth making. Walter himself feels guilty, yet he's also excited by the power he's gaining as Heisenberg. Cooking meth is also dirty work. He has to take off his regular clothes, which is why he's in his famous white underwear while working. Jesse, who calls himself Captain Cook, tries to add chili powder to make his meth different. But to Walter, making meth is just simple chemistry, and his meth is purer than anything Jesse's seen before. Jesse tries to sell it, but things go wrong. Crazy-8, a local dealer, and his cousin try to steal Walter's formula and kill him. To survive, Walter creates a deadly gas to fight them. One dealer survives, so Walter and Jesse flip a coin to decide who will finish him off. Walter is picked, and he knows he has no choice. Jesse, meanwhile, has to dissolve the body but chooses to use his bathtub instead of a plastic container. This mistake causes the acid to eat through the tub and make a big mess. This experience traumatizes Walter, and he thinks about quitting, but cancer treatment is very expensive, and he needs money. Walter's old friend and business partner, Elliot, offers to pay for his treatment, but Walter's pride stops him from accepting help. So, Walter returns to cooking meth. He and Jesse realize they could make more money by selling to a big-time dealer, Tuco Salamanca. But Tuco is dangerous and beats up Jesse, stealing their meth. Walter, now bald from chemo, goes to confront Tuco. He uses chemistry to make a huge explosion, and Tuco, impressed, decides he likes Heisenberg and agrees to work with him. Walter knows they need a lot of cold medicine to make more meth, but he also knows a better ingredient they can use instead. To get it, though, they'll need to steal it. Using chemistry, they break through a door, stealing a large barrel of chemicals. This new ingredient makes the meth turn blue, and soon their meth becomes famous. But there's a problem. Tuco is so unpredictable that he even kills his own friend. Walter and Jesse decide they need to get rid of him. Walter comes up with a plan using a type of poison called ricin, which he makes from beans. The DEA is onto Tuco after finding bodies connected to him, so he goes on the run and kidnaps both Walt and Jesse. He hides them at his uncle Hector Salamanca's house, a quiet but intimidating place. Tuco doesn't plan to kill them immediately, but he's unpredictable. Walt tries to poison him by slipping ricin into Tuco's burrito, thinking that Hector isn't paying attention. But Hector, though unable to speak, rings his bell to warn Tuco about the poison. Walt and Jesse manage to escape, and at that moment, Hank arrives, tracking down Jess's car, and ends up in a shootout with Tuco, killing him. Walt, meanwhile, needs a cover story for his disappearance. He tells everyone he had a fugue state and blacked out. Jesse is also questioned but gives the police a good excuse to avoid trouble. Hector Salamanca, loyal to his cartel roots, stays silent, refusing to give up information to the DEA. On the cancer front, Walt gets good news: he's in remission. But all the money he's made barely covers his medical bills, so he and Jesse are back to cooking meth. Jess's friends, Combo, Badger, and Skinny Pete, help sell their product, but it's a risky business. One day, Jesse finds two drug users who stole from them, but they don't have his money, they only have a stolen ATM they can't open. In a fit of anger, one of them accidentally kills the other, scarring Jesse. Now, people in the streets are talking about Jesse and his boss, Heisenberg, as real threats, which actually helps their business by building a reputation for them. As their fame grows, they face more challenges, and one day, Badger gets arrested. Needing a lawyer, they turn to Saul Goodman, a quick-talking, slightly shady lawyer known for his commercials. After a rocky start, Saul becomes their legal advisor and suggests someone who can help them expand: Gus Fring, a calm and calculated restaurant owner who secretly runs a large meth empire. But Gus only works with trustworthy partners, and Jess's behavior may put this partnership at risk. Jesse starts renting a new apartment from Jane, a cool artist and his new neighbor. They quickly become close and start dating, though Jane is a recovering addict. Things go south when they start doing drugs together, and eventually, they try heroin, which Jesse has never done before. This habit makes Jesse unreliable, so Walt has to go handle a drug deal on his own. Around this time, Walt's wife, Skylar, gives birth to their daughter, Holly. Walt misses the birth, though, because he was busy with the deal, and he's angry with Jesse, blaming him for the missed moment. He decides not to give Jesse his share of the money until he gets clean. Jane finds out and threatens Walt into handing over Jess's money, claiming they'll use it to move away and start over. But before they do, they decide to use up the last of their heroin stash. Walt stops by later to see Jesse and finds them both passed out from drug use. Suddenly, Jane begins to overdose, and Walt realizes he could save her but decides not to, thinking that her death might be what it takes for Jesse to quit drugs. He lets her die, a heartbreaking moment for Jesse, who is devastated by the loss. A new character, Mike Ehrmantraut, shows up around this time. He's a no-nonsense fixer who helps keep Jesse out of trouble and later encourages him to go to rehab. But Jane's father, an air traffic controller, is so devastated by her death that he accidentally causes a mid-air collision. Walt's indirect actions have now led to a large disaster. Meanwhile, Walt's marriage suffers as Skylar becomes more suspicious of his secrets. Eventually, she kicks him out, and when he tries to win her back, she rejects him. At one point, this leads to the infamous scene where Walt throws a pizza onto the roof out of frustration. Walt finally tells her the truth, admitting he's been cooking meth for the family. Skylar is horrified but decides not to turn him in, choosing to have an affair with her boss to get back at him. Meanwhile, Walt and Jesse continue making meth. Gus Fring offers them a sophisticated new meth lab in the basement of an industrial laundry, along with a new partner, Gail, who is also a skilled chemist. But Walt doesn't feel comfortable working with anyone but Jesse, so they get back together and start producing on a massive scale through Gus's network. However, they soon face trouble from the Mexican cartel, who want revenge for Tuco's death. The cartel sends two hitmen, called the Twins, after Heisenberg, Walt's drug name. But Gus manages to redirect them, pointing them toward Hank, the DEA agent who was actually responsible for Tuco's death. After Hank's close brush with death during a shootout with the cartel twins, he's severely injured and needs expensive physical therapy to recover. Skylar, now aware of the money Walt has made, decides to help by telling the family they're financially covered thanks to Walt's supposed success in counting cards. To make it believable, she suggests buying the car wash where Walt once worked, using it to launder their drug money, a far more sensible choice than Saul's suggestion of a laser tag business. This leads to a fresh start for Walt and Skylar's finances, and with this new venture, the couple seems closer than ever. Meanwhile, Jesse grows attached to Andrea, his new girlfriend who has a young son named Brock. Jesse is protective of Brock, so when he discovers that Andrea's younger brother has been selling meth for the cartel, he demands they stop involving kids in the business. His request leads to tragedy when the cartel enforcers kill the young dealer instead. Outraged, Jesse is set on avenging the boy's death, but he's saved from a suicidal mission by Walt, who dramatically runs down the killers with his car to protect Jesse. Gus Fring, who aims for a low-profile empire, is furious over the drama and decides it's time to replace Walt, forcing him to cook with his lab assistant, Gale. Walt, sensing his life is in danger, concocts a desperate plan and convinces Jesse to kill Gale to make sure Gus needs him alive. Jesse reluctantly does the deed, leaving Gus with no choice but to keep them both alive. Gus makes his anger clear by killing an innocent worker to show Walt the consequences of stepping out of line. Fearing Gus might come after him, Walt concocts a backup plan involving ricin and has Jesse keep a dose hidden in a cigarette. To distract Jesse from his guilt over Gale's murder, Gus's enforcer, Mike Ehrmantraut, takes Jesse on ride-alongs. The two bond as they work together, with Mike teaching Jesse some of the less glamorous realities of the job. Their partnership takes a dramatic turn when Gus goes